Okay, magandang gabi po sa ah, mga katipon natin dito sa Pilipinas. Ito po ang ating katipunan. Muling sumasa inyo mga tagapakinig upang magbigay ng mahalagang impormasyon, magbigay liwanag at higit sa lahat makinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-puro hinggil sa mga problemang patuloy na nagpapahirap sa ating kalagayan at kabuhayan. Sa susunod na oras, sisikapin po namin ipaliwanag ang iba-ibang bahagi ng ating ekonomiya at ang mga mabibigat na local and international issues na may malaking epekto sa ating buhay at kinabukasan. Ito po ang inyong katipon na si Butch Valdes. Kasama ko po dito si Valdes at ang iba pa nating kasama sa Save the Nation. I'm sure na si Roxanne po nandito sa humahawak po ng technicals natin at sa movement po ng political party po kami, Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino at iba pang mga organisasyon natin, yung KAMAO, no? Yung Katipunan Movement Against Oligarchs, KAMAO, no? KAMAO. Ito po yung mga coalition ng mga iba-ibang grupo laban po sa mga oligarko at humahawak po ng ating mga public utilities. Well, kami po dito ay nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makibahagi sa ating kalakayan sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang problema at paghahanap ng kaukulang solusyon. Okay, katulad po ng dati, pinarapat po namin ni Itos na since kami lang po yata ang nagpapalabas ng mga iba-ibang mga news, no? Mga pahayagis tungkol dito sa mga pangyayari ngayon sa bansang Amerika at sa ibang dako pa ng mundo, no? Lalong-lalo na ito pong nangyayari ngayon sa bansang Amerika dahil laki po ng importansya yan sa buong mundo. Hindi lang po sa bansang Amerika kasi it has an impact on us. Whatever policies they will have based on the next president or the president that they will elect in November 3, no? Malaki pong impact sa atin, kabuhayan po natin. Hindi lang yun, pati po itong mga kamag-anak natin na nandyan sa bansang Amerika, ilan na ba yan? Siguro 1 or 2 million or 3 million Filipinos now are in the United States and lahat yan may mga kamag-anak dito. So it is really something that we should focus on. Not as if ibang mundo yan, bahala sila sa buhay nila, tayo naman dito. Hindi po ganyan eh. No? Tapos isa pa, may posibilidad na ang security ng buong mundo maapektuhan din kung papunta ba tayo sa gera, ng malawakang gera, o palayo tayo sa malawakang gera. Again, it depends on who the president is going to be. That's why we find it quite important that we continue to discuss this until its culmination. No?
Even after?
Probably even after the election kasi ang natabayaan po natin maski magkatapos ng eleksyon, no? Ay hindi pa rin magkakaroon ng ganyang klaseng kapayapaan sa bansang Amerika. No? Di ba?
Yes. Well, if based on ang mga sinasabi ng mga Democrat leaders, hindi magkakaroon ng kapayapaan after the election. And this is si dating Secretary of State na tumakbong presidente in 2016, si Hillary Clinton, sinabi na niya ilang beses na kahit anong mangyari, hindi ka dapat mag-concede, sabi niya kay Biden. Huwag ka mag-concede. Si Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, right? Congress. Sabi niya, marami pa tayong bala laban kay Trump, maski na after election. Ito po, sinabi na nila, hindi ako nag-iimbento.
We're not speculating here. These are direct quotes. So we rephrase the quotation.
Yeah.
No?
And then,
parang ang sinasabi nila, maski na manalo sa eleksyon si Trump, hindi natin papaupuin yan. No?
yes. And
Gagawa nila at gagawa ng paraan para hindi umupo. No?
So si Hillary Clinton, si Nancy Pelosi, si Kamala Harris, sabi niya tungkol sa mga riot, di ba nag-riot po dati yung mga...
Yung Kamala Harris po, she's the one running as the Vice President of Biden sa Democratic Party.
Yes.
Yung sa Republican, si President Trump tsaka si Vice President Pence.
Yeah. So sa kabila ni Kamala Harris na when asked about yung mga riots, yung BLM, yung Antifa, sabi niya hindi titigil to maski na pagkatapos ng eleksyon. At hindi dapat sila tumigil. Okay? Tapos ngayon, yung pinaka-latest, hindi ko alam kung nabibiro o lumalabas ang ulyanin ni Joe Biden, pero sinabi niya na this is a direct quote, they can say, ang sinabi niya po, they have organized the most extensive voter fraud organization in the world. So itong apat, si Hillary Clinton, si Nancy Pelosi, si Kamala Harris, at yung kumakandidatong presidente po, based on what they're saying.
Para po, hindi namin alam na, kasi kung talagang, saan ba niya sinabi ito?
We have a video, if we can play it, if you want.
Yes, we play it. Kayo na po maghusga. Parang pagkasabi niya yon, ewan ko kung nadulas lang yung dila niya, no? O pagmamayabang na, no? Kasi parang ngayon marami na silang problema. Mamaya papakita namin sa inyo din yung kanyang problema tungkol sa anak niya. Yeah. At yung kanilang mga pagkakuntsaba sa mga corrupt dito sa ibang bansa, sa China, sa Ukraine, sa Russia, kung paano silang humingi ng pera dito sa mga negosyante doon, no? Yeah. Para mapaunlakan o mabigyan ng pabor, no?
Yung negosyo yung posisyon niya.
Yung negosyo noon ni Biden bilang isa siyang vice president. Dati kasi Vice President siya ni Obama, di ba po? Ngayon lumalabas lahat itong basurang ito, no? Yeah. Ay nakita sa mga computer tsaka mga email na palitan ng yung anak niya at mamaya po kung meron tayong papakita po natin yan.
Yeah, so based on what sabi ng chairman, tanong niya, how do we know na medyo kahit na pagkatapos ng eleksyon, hindi pa rin titigil tong mga to? Sinasabi na nila. So, ni-anticipate na nila, iniisip na nila, maski natalo tayo, manggugulo pa rin tayo. Ngayon, marami pwede mangyari dyan. I remember that may ginawa silang parang strategiya o gimmick na tinatawag na mail-in voting. Ang mail-in voting po yon na parang hindi yung absentee voting, ha? Yung absentee voting po, mali yun. You have to show a lot of identification, you have to show your voter's ID, all of that. Yung mail-in voting po, papadala lang by mail.
Sa koreo. Meron kang naka-envelope na seal, meron kang form, no? Sabihin mo doon, yun ang balota mo, lagay mo sa tapos ilagay mo sa mailbox. Sa mailbox, sa koreo, papadala mong ganyan.
So yun daw ang nila, kasi daw may coronavirus, dapat lahat ng tao na sa bahay lang, yun ang gusto nilang mangyari. Na-discover po ng mga iba't ibang states, iba't ibang tao na may tinatapon, maraming balotang tinatapon kung Trump ang binoto nyo. So maraming pwede mangyari na
Nagpa-imprenta na sila mga balota at linagay po sa iba-ibang strategic places sa bansang Amerika. Eh, alam na natin yan, yung nakalagay na dyan yung pangalan ni Biden. No? Tapos, ang gagawin nito mga ito, pag nakita nila na ito yung balota, papalitan nila noon. No? Yung mga ganyang klaseng pandaraya, alam nyo, kayo dito sa ating bansa sa Pilipinas, basang-basa nyo na yung kung paano dadayain
Yes.
Di ba po? No?
Correct.
Sa Amerika kasi hindi sila sanay doon sa ganyang klaseng gapangan.
Yes.
Gapangan na dayaan. No?
Saka po yung election, kaya nga sinasabi natin dati pa. Yung election po, ang pinaka-essence ng ating Republican system of government. We are given the chance to elect our leaders. This is not a parliamentary government where only congressman will elect the head of the prime minister. Ito po, direct democracy po. So the voting, the act of voting, kaya galit na galit po kami pag sinasabing dinadaya yung mga votes. Kasi kapangyarihan po ng bawat citizen yun, di ba, ng bansa. Same with America. It is their right, it is their sacred duty to vote because that will determine their future.
So, matter of fact, yung sistema po natin na pangboto ng presidente, no?
Yes.
In principle, galing po dito sa US sa kanilang bansa. Kasi nung naitatag yung kanilang estado noon, nung 1776, gumawa they were a nation state. No? They became a nation. Now, how to choose the leaders had to be by election.
All men are created equal. That's
Kasi,
the concept.
yun ang proseso. Gusto mong palitan, meron kang paraan para palitan pagdating ng eleksyon. Ngayon, kung hindi mo na kaya, no, hindi mo na kayang maghintay pa sa eleksyon dahil dinadaya lang yung eleksyon, ngayon, nagkakaroon ng revolusyon.
Right.
Hindi po ba? No? So, itong sistemang ito, kakaiba ito doon sa mga nakaraan. Kasi mga nakaraan, ang kanilang mga gobyerno, mga monarchy. Pag may mga kaharian, mayroon mga emperor, mayroon mga
king, queen,
reyna, mga ano. Ganyan po ang mga bansa noon. Pero nung itinatag yung Amerika, sabi, all men are created equal. Sila lang to, sa Amerika lang nagsabi nito.
1776.
At all men created equal are endowed with inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Tapos, ditong mga tao dito sa isang bansang ito, gagawa sila ng isang gobyerno. Yung gobyernong yon, pipiliin ng tao kung sinong mamamahala. Ito nga yung election process. At sinasabi pa doon, kung itong mga namamahala, no, ay hindi susunod sa kagustuhan ng mga citizens, kaya nila, dapat palitan nila.
Right.
At ang proseso na palitan yan ay ang eleksyon.
Yeah.
Pero kung hindi na makakahintay dahil sa hirap na yung tao, pwede silang mag-revolt. Pwede silang palitan nila dahil hindi lang nila kakayanan magpalit, hindi lang nila katarungan na magpalit, obligasyon pa nila na palitan yun.
Yeah.
It is the duty and the right to replace the government. That is what they're saying in their declaration.
Yeah.
Dito po tayo nakahambing.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Yan pong proseso yan, diyan po tayo nakahambing. At marami pang ibang bansa.
Oh, yun na nga. So after itong US elections, yun ang lumalabas na intensyon ng mga Democrat na parang mandaya. Because alam nila po, and siguro pwede natin i-research yan sa YouTube kung hindi pa tinatanggal yung mga rally po ni Trump hanggang ngayon. Ang daming tao. Ang dami po talaga. Hindi nyo masasabing ano. Pero ang sinasabi nila sa CNN o sa mainstream media, lamang pa rin daw si Biden. pero hindi na nila kontrolado ang tinatawag na istorya. Kasi alam na ng tao na sinungaling sila. Parang po last week.
Ito mga CNN, NBC, ABC, yan, mga mainstream media.
Yes. Tapos, sumama pa ngayon yung tinatawag na big tech. Which is Google, Facebook, Twitter, at lahat na. Alala nyo po, last week, na-block po kami. Na-block po tayo. Buti na lang, may kasama tayo dyan sa RMN. But otherwise, na-block po tayo sa Facebook dahil daw sa copyright issues. So, hindi po dahil kay Hunter Biden, ha? So, pag ngayon po, na-block po kami ulit, i-upload naman namin ulit yan. Di ba, laban pa rin tayo kasi hindi dapat tayo sinasensor. Lalo na, sinasabi nga ni Chairman, dito lang po sa channel na to, dito lang po sa programa ito, dinidiscuss po natin lahat ng importanteng issue tungkol dun sa about Hunter Biden and the US elections. So right now, only now, do we discuss it here in the Philippines. Believe it or not, walang ibang programa ang nagdi-discuss na ganito na napaka-extensive po. Yun ang
kaya maganda dito sa atin, hindi lang po dito sa Pilipinas naririnig ito, at kundi rin sa ibang dayo ng mundo, no?
Yes.
At all of our compatriots in the rest of the world nandyan. And they're starting to understand also what is going on wherever you are in the world, Middle East, Asia, Southeast Asia, America, no? Europe, wherever you are. The coming election in the United States probably is the most important election that will impact not just the United States, but the rest of the world.
Oh, I wanted to say also, update. Yung Sudan, nag-peace deal ulit also with Israel.
Sudan,
with President Trump.
Imagine yan po, si President Trump, siya lang nakakapaggawa nitong mga peace arrangements with Israel. Alam nyo kasi, Israel parang kalaban ng buong Middle East, di ba? Ang naumpisahan niya sa
Saudi Arabia, and then there is a Bahrain, and then now it's Sudan, and then one more.
United Arab yata, hindi pa kasama ba yun?
United Arab.
Tapos Sudan. So, isa-isa itong mga bansang ito nakikipag-peace. At pag hindi po, pag wala pong gera sa Middle East, kapayapaan ang may iwan, mawawala na yung pangangailangan ng Amerikano na magpadala ng mga armas dyan. No? And this is what he is trying to do. Ang kalaban niya, itong sila Biden. Ayaw nilang mangyari yan kasi mas gusto nila yung tinatawag na perpetual wars.
Correct.
Because this is where the military-industrial complex in the US are using their whole, kumbaga sa oligarko, no? Na ang hawak nila lahat ng gawaan ng mga tangke, mga eroplano, mga baril, mga trucks. Lahat silang gumagawa nito. Kakuntsaba nila yung ibang military na ipagpatuloy na walang hinto ang mga gera dito sa iba-ibang lugar ng mundo.
Yeah, and remember, lahat ng speeches ni Trump po, hanapin niyo po sa YouTube, panoorin niyo sa mga campaign trail niya, yung mga iba't ibang. Kasi araw-araw, siguro for the past month or for the past how many months, kahit may lockdown, hindi makikinig si Trump. Bibisitahin pa rin niya lahat ng states. At magpakakusapin niya yung mga tao, wag matakot. Hindi kailangan matakot. Safety precautions, pero wag matakot. Makita niyo po yung speeches niya. Sabi niya, kailangan wala na tong mga gera-gera. Kailangan malakas yung lahat ng bansa, malakas. I want a strong America. But China has to be strong. Russia has to be strong.
They have a right to strengthen their countries.
Yeah, lahat sila independent and sovereign. Yeah. They have their own patriots. Hindi po ako nag-iimbento ng salita. Hindi po ako nangangampanya. Panoorin niyo po yung mga speeches ni Trump. And if you listen to him, syempre gusto natin yung presidente ng isang napaka-powerful na military nation na magsabi ng ganyan. Ayaw niya ng gera. Dito tayo, negosyo na lang tayo lahat. Huwag na tayo manggera. Okay? So, pinapauwi niya lahat ng tao. Ngayon, pag may peace deal dyan sa Middle East, Chairman, what does that do with oil?
Well, that means itong tatandaan niyo po, kanya pumasok dyan sila Obama, no? Dahil makontrol nila itong langis na gusto sabihin, ang hindi na makokontrol, ang nagpapataas po ng halaga ng langis, hindi po yung mga Arab countries no?
Producer.
Itong mga humahawak ng oil, ano na yan mga multinational corporations na yan. At nandyan na yung Amerikano, yung mga British. Sila ang tunay na nagpapataas niyan. At kung hindi po gagawin yan, magkakaroon po ng pagbabalanse ng tunay na presyo ng langis.
Crude oil.
The other thing, it's a little complicated, no? But this is what happens. Dahil po itong sila Hillary, kakonsyaba po nila dito, itong mga malalaking bangko, yung tinatawag na financial oligarchs, no? At ito din sa Wall Street. Yung Wall Street po, alam niyo na yung Wall Street sa New York. Meron po tinatawag dyan na commodity futures market. No? Pag hawak nila yung oil, no? ang nagbebentahan dito sa commodity futures, yung oil, ang may hawak niyan, yung mga bankero. Right? Yung commodity futures, parang palitan. It's a market. It's a market of futures.
Stock market, parang stock market.
Parang stock market, kaya lang futures yung commodity. Yung, for example, yung presyo ng corn, sabihin natin, no? Yung presyo ng corn, we're speculating, parang ang expectation natin, inaantabihan natin na tataas ang presyo ng corn. Pagdating ng 2 months. So ngayon, bibili ka ng corn, pero paper lang yon. Papel lang, nasasabihin sa'yo, yung production 2 months from now ay iyo. No? So etong papel na ito, pwede mo nang ibenta. Hindi pa lumalabas yung corn mo, pwede mo nang ibenta. It becomes an object of transactions now, even if the produce has not yet been produced. Ganyan din po yung sa langis. Kanya po dito sa pagbebenta sa Wall Street, pataas ng pataas ang halaga. Paglabas nun, ganyan na yung halaga ng langis. Tayo, wala naman tayong perang, ang bansa natin, wala tayong perang panglaro sa ganyan. Bumibili tayo doon sa pinakamataas na halaga ng langis. Anyway,
the peace deal.
Pag meron pong mga peace deal na ganyan, no? At yung pong mga pag-aari ng langis ay susunod na babalik po sa mga iba-ibang kani-kanilang mga bansa, no? Mawawala po itong masyadong garapal na nangyayari sa Wall Street pagdating sa langis, no? Napaka-importante po yan.
Yeah. So the other thing is that aside from the impression ng langis, which we always say, alam mo naman, pag may gulo sa Middle East, tataas yung presyo ng langis. Sasabihin ng mga oil companies dito, tataas na naman presyo ng langis kasi nagkakagulo sa Middle East. So when there is peace, when there is steady, you will not have the volatile or wala nang excuse. Ideally. Pero what about our OFWs also? What does a Middle East peace deal mean for us?
Well, we will, if we have our OFWs there, because there is going to be peace, they will not be sent back to the Philippines and they can continue their work there.
Yes.
Ngayon po, habang may mga gera, no, at bumabagsak ang mga ekonomiya ng mga tiga Middle East, siyempre, anong mangyayari doon? Sasabihin nila dito sa mga ating mga kababayan, umuwi na muna kayo, hindi na namin kayo kayang bayaran. No? At meron na nga talagang umuwi. As of now, siguro, less than 1 million na have already come back. And maybe hundreds of thousands still there in the Middle East and in Europe, waiting to be able to get the chance to come back. Dahil nawalan na sila ng trabaho. No? Yun ang nangyayari sa atin. No? Yeah. But unless there is normalization in terms of this peace and order situation, hindi ko pa sinasabi, hindi pa yung COVID, no? Palagay ko, pero itong peace and order, wala nang gera, no? Palagay ko, mananatili yung mga steady lang sila na nandyan sa ibang bansa.
Yeah. Actually, yung news nga doon, magtatayo na daw sila ng embassy sa each country. Which is really a landmark. Hindi natin po nakikita in our lifetime ito nangyari ng ganito. And very extensive. And remember, si Trump po was nominated for 3 Nobel Peace Prize. So, kumbaga, isa lang yung peace deal niya with Israel and kunyari, Bahrain, isang Nobel Peace Prize na yon. Tapos he has 3 now with Sudan po. So ayaw talaga nilang gera. Remember,
nominated pa lang yan, hindi pa niya natatanggap.
Imagine po.
Yung si Obama, yung nakaraang presidente, wala pa siyang ginagawang peace, binigyan na siya ng award. Kasi alam nyo, yung mga ibang yan, kaya nilang bilhin yan eh. No?
Yes.
Binigyan na siya ng Peace Prize. Kakapasok niya pa lang. Wala pa siyang ginagawang peace. Anong ginawa niya? Hindi siya gumawa ng peace. Pinalawak niya yung gera sa Middle East.
Yes. Pinalawak niya talaga.
Kanya it was such a mockery of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes. No? Parang wala. Inisip ko talaga, grabe po ang ginawa nila Obama at Hillary. Grabe po. So, Trump is reversing everything. Pinapalitan niya ng mas magandang arrangement with all of these countries. So, kaya siya po tinisiraan dyan sa mainstream media. But one of these things, kanina, Roxanne, I think it's the second video I showed you. Trump will win if Democrats can. So, I think we'll show this. Yun ang sinasabi ni Chairman kanina, na sinasabi natin na paano natin alam na hindi magiging mapayapa ang election plus after the election. Because po yung kalaban ni Trump, yung mga Democrat, nagbanta na ito ang gagawin nila. Kasi alam po nila na matatalo sila. And based on yung mga nag-a-attend sa mga rally ni Trump, talagang mapaisip ka talaga paano hindi mananalo tong si Trump. Okay, but we'll show you a news report from Sky News. Sana Facebook, huwag niyo muna kaming i-block, ha? Pa-play muna natin. Sige.
James and Lauren, here we are on the big set. James, you got your bags packed, you're raring to go.
Bags packed, ready to go, 1 o'clock tomorrow, off to the United States to cover the historic re-election of one Donald J. Trump.
The Trump slide, it's going to be a landslide. You heard it here, Lauren. Welcome to Outsiders, filling in for Rita. Fantastic to have you here. You're going to back my support on a Trump landslide, or you're going to be like these two kind of equivocating, oh, we're not quite sure.
Hey, it would be great, but that's if the Democrats can't manage to rig it to hell.
Well, that is very true. James, we were talking about Arnold Roth and Israel. Trump has got yet another great bit of news this week.
Well, yeah, so we had yet another one of these peace deals. This is something that the left doesn't want to talk about. Suddenly, peace in the Middle East doesn't matter anymore. Sudan has now just signed a deal with Israel to normalize relations. This goes after the UAE peace deal, the Bahrain peace deal. Egypt has said this is fantastic to see Israel and Sudan making peace, which is great because Egypt has historically had their own share of problems with both Israel and Sudan. Fascinating thing about this here, Kayleigh McEnany, the press secretary, said that Trump makes it look easy, but, you know, it isn't. The thing is, two things. Number one, Trump saw through the whole facade of the foreign policy establishment, which said that the Palestinians were the key to peace. No, nobody actually thought that was the key to peace. It's actually getting a coalition together against Iran. But the other thing, too, that I find fascinating, and we're going to talk about this in a bit, The debate they held on Friday, our time, was supposed to be the foreign policy debate. But because foreign policy is such an unalloyed success of this administration, you know, going off the record of Obama and George W. Bush and everybody else in the past, they said, no, we'll make it about other things. We can talk about, I don't know, COVID responses and the economy and things like that. You know, ground that Joe Biden might find a bit more comfortable to be on.
Lauren, we're going to look at the debate in a second. We've got some great highlights from it. But this whole thing with the crime bill, that was a big part of the debate. I kind of tell us a little bit what that is about, because I think a lot of people here didn't really understand what Donald Trump's role in the crime bill and why he was attacking Biden over it.
Right. So, of course, the Democrats are all over trying to be the candidates for the guy on the ground that's against the evil police. But Biden was the one who brought in the '94 crime bill that crowded prisons, put tons of people. There was one man, Duke Tanner, who was put in jail for life for a drug charge. And Trump was actually the one who got him out. And there's this beautiful video that Trump Jr. posted of him meeting his son for the first time since he was 2 years old.
Let's have a look.
20 years ago, I fought at the Trump Casino, and now you signed to give me clemency. First, I didn't know it was real until I was able to bring and touch this little guy right here. I left him when he was 2 years old, President Trump. You reunited me back to my family. I lost my mother and my father, but I got him. And this is what I live for. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, all praise and glory go to God. Thank you.
And this man was supposed to be in jail for life because of a bill that Biden passed. How can the Democrats pretend to be the candidates of, first of all, black people and people in America that are raging against an unjust system?
Absolutely. I wonder what Duke Tanner would have thought of Joe Biden's claim that he's not black.
Well, yeah, that's
Trump.
right.
You're not black, mate. Sorry. You did 20 years or whatever it is in jail, but you ain't black.
No, you can't.
Unbelievable stuff. I want to show you a bit more on that. This was some 3 girls who were filmed in a park chatting. They're undecided voters. They were being interviewed about who they were going to vote for. Have a listen.
Does the presence of Kamala Harris on the Democratic ticket sway you at all?
Not at all. I don't know who said she had our vote. She does not. We were supposed to grab onto Kamala with the black girl magic, but that didn't happen because she didn't right her wrongs.
Like, I hold officials accountable. I don't care what color you are. And I think that too often we automatically think that because someone looks like you, that they're going to have your best interests at heart. And that's just not simply true.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it shows, number one, that these 3 women understand the nature of America and what America is all about far more than the Democratic Party. You know, that line about how, you know, it's not about what you look like, but it's about what you do. But the other fascinating thing to me is Kamala Harris has been kept in witness protection this entire election. She was supposed to be the one who was supposed to shore up the minority vote. But remember, she bombed out of the primaries, guys. She was a complete failure as a candidate there. They won't put her out again because she got her clock cleaned by Mike Pence. This has turned out to be a disaster for the Democrats.
All of which goes to the Trump slide, which is coming along, backing it up.
Well, it better be, because we know that Joe Biden won't last that first term, and you'd have her as president.
So you see that was a report from Sky News Australia. Kung nakita nyo po, pinapakita lang nila, sabi nila, based on everything that's happening, plus the recent debate of Trump and Biden, sinasabi nga nila, ito yung mga taga-Australia po yan, Sky News Australia. They're saying that this is looking like a landslide already. Imagine itong taga-Australia. Tapos may pinapakita pa silang mga videos about yung mga minority po, yung sinasabi nilang black. Kasi ang sinasabi ng mga Democrats, yung mga African Americans daw, para sa kanila. Because they don't like Trump because puti po siya. Pero nakita po natin dito, nawawala na rin. And you wanted to comment.
Yung sinasabi ng 3 black women na ini-interview sila by another black interviewer. Siguro, I don't know, ano yung mainstream media ba yun or what?
Sky.
Sky.
Oh, Sky News.
Sabi nila, yung Kamala Harris po, kasi siya yung Vice President
Joe Biden.
ni Joe Biden. At pumili daw sila ng black na para daw makuha yung black votes. Yun ang sinasabi ng mga Democrat. Ang sabi nito mga black women, sabi niya, bakit ganyan? Porque itim siya, automatically, sabi na, sabi na, wala kami pakialam kung anong kulay yung tao. Importante kung ano yung ginagawa nila at ano yung mga programa makakabuti sa lahat, di ba? Tama naman yung sagot di ba? Pag pipili ka ng itim para bumoto yung itim, inherently, ikaw yung racist.
Correct.
But when you choose a black person just so that you can get the black votes, that attitude by itself is racism. Di ba po? No?
Correct.
Ito yung mga kagaguhan ng mga nandyan, sila Hillary Clinton, tsaka mga nandyan sa ano.
Medyo nagba-backfire na ngayon kasi recent poll lumabas nga na yung black votes in certain states, parang lumalabas na para sila lahat kay Trump.
Yeah.
This is what...
Because they're starting to discover the truth. Look at yung kanina, lumabas po dito sa ating video. Meron isang tao, hawak kasama niya yung anak niya, yung mas bata.
Yeah.
He was already 5 years in jail on the basis of a law or a law that Joe Biden passed, which was already anomalous the way it was, the nature of that law,
maling
batas, and made this person guilty, and then ang sentencing life imprisonment. Life imprisonment yung lalaki. Nung na repaso ni President Trump yung case niya at pinakita itong kasong ito, binigyan siya ng clemency agad-agad, labas sa kulungan because of the injustice done to this black person, right? You know, this sabi nga nung nagsasalita, hindi na alam kung paanong nagmamalaki itong mga Democrats, no? Na sila ang nagpro-protect sa mga itim. Whereas actually, ang kanilang mga batas ang naglalagay dito sa mga black people sa kulungan. Yeah. Kanya po ganyan ang...
parang sa atin dito pag may election, maraming kandidato na magpapasa ng batas pabor daw sa Pilipino. Pero ang totoo niyan,
iba. Tsaka yung sinabi ng black woman, why just because black yung kandidato, black kami, automatic boboto kami sa kanya. Dito po sa Pilipinas, tingnan natin. Porque tiga Mindanao, lahat na ng Mindanao kailangan bumoto sa kanya, yung pang expectation. Right? Hindi po. Ang tatanungin po natin, ano ba yung programa?
Right.
Ano ba yung policy? Ano ba yung pinaninindigan ng tao? Maski tiga saan siya.
Right.
Kasi lahat tayo Pilipino. The same thing, no? They're all from one country. Yeah. So you study the program regardless of kung Bisaya siya, o tiga Mindanao, o Ilocano siya, o ano man.
Right.
Pag-aralan niyo po yun. It has nothing to do with kung ano yung ginagawa natin ngayon. Ako, nagkikilabutan na naman ako tuwing naririnig ko ulit ito mga kung ano-anong pangalan. Sara, Bongbong, no? Kombinasyon ni Pacquiao,
North and South,
yung mga sabi ko, ang hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung kanilang programa, anong nasa isip nila, ano yung itong ang gagawin nila para sa buong bansa. Ano ang kanilang solusyon dito sa mga problema natin ngayon?
Economic.
Oo nga, meron ba silang economic program na pupuntiryahin yung mismong problema ngayon. Hindi yung mangangako sila, pag ako naging presidente, ihahango ko kayo sa kahirapan. Period. Hindi niya sasabihin kung paano o ano yung problema.
Yes.
Hindi niya papaliwanag.